What's up, everybody? It's your boy First Shock and the IC Tech Jog here with another power rankings based type of video here for the MBA, the Moonlit Battlers Alliance. This is for their low tier division. And yeah, again, things that will apply is just the opinion. Do not take them seriously. I am just giving my perspectives and helping Haunch out in terms of power rankings. And my voice is a little shot after I literally just did the national decks and I took a bit of a in-depth view right there. So if you guys are excited for this for this power ranking space type of video, definitely leave a like, if you haven't already, subscribe if you're new, join the First Sugar Crew today because you'll be feeling through and show support for the NBA. So we're gonna start off. I went from first pick to last pick. Let's go last pick to first pick this time. So we're gonna kick it off with the Dream Yard Dragonaires and Coach CY or Psy, if you don't mind going by that. Let me know if I'm going out of line with that or not. They have Zygar 10%, Jellicent, Meloetta, Whimsicott, Audino's, Yaller Stomphus, Talonflame, Scolipede, Duosian, and Electros. Now, something I want to very much state is that in terms of low tier, hazards and removal aren't fully focused on. Definitely some teams are fully more focused on in terms of offense and just synergy with a team. So I'm not going to critique it as bad as I'm going to what I did the other ones. I'm going to critique this based on three categories in terms of the offense of a team, the defense of the team, and how well the team pairs well overall. I think that's going to be the main three critiques I'm going to do with low tier. So looking at their team, there's not a ton of defensive pressure on this team. You got decent bulk with Whimsicott. You have good bulk with Audino. So not too bad bulk with Meloetta. Phenomenal good bulk with Jellison. And then decent bulk with the Electros plus Gauss Stunfisk. This team definitely has a little bit too much of a defensive pressure a little bit. I do think there's really good offensive pieces like Zygar 10%. There's even decent good offensive pressuring with Jellison and Meloetta to some degree. Same with Jellison. Phenomenal physical breakers in Talonflame and Scolipede, which I cannot believe they allowed Scolipede in here. And I even checked the tabs myself, and I'm saying this right now. Scolipede did not have a handicap restriction in terms of drafting it. So that was a 13-point Scolipede with Swords Dance allowed towards it. But also gives spikes and some toxic spikes, which is also really good. Overall, in terms of offense, there's not really a lot. There's only a few. Defense is definitely a little bit over the top with it, but really good defense regardless. Overall, I don't know how well it's going to really pair off this team. So I'm going to honestly give this team and start it off with a solid 7. Again, there's a few things on this team that could probably be improved on in terms of maybe the ball or the offense and all that. But I think altogether, this team's going to be relatively good. Again, 2 months, I can actually reliably run heavy duty boots every single week, if need be, being Scolipede and Talon Punch again. Has removal, I don't think is even that going to be that much of a problem for this team. But up next, we have my boy, the man who created this entire league and the other one itself, is the man, the Fort Lauderdale Feather Dancers, my boy Hanj. He's got Lycanroc, Dust, Vikavolt, Slurpup, Blaziken, Inteleon, Steelix, Superior, Golbat, Morpeko, and Zangoose. And my boy Hanj has got a fire team. I think he built perfect Webb's offense, in my opinion. Because what's really good about this Webb's offense is he's got technically two choices of Webb's offense. He's got one that can pretty much always reliably run it, and then one that can play prioritized in terms of maybe being supportive, defensive, and offensive, which I think is really great. And having two sticky web users, and then you can kind of flip the script on them. Make Slurpuff the webs user, and actually make Michael like a bulky offensive monster, or just a Specs Annihilator or Agility Life Orb set type of thing. He also has a bit of a Stealth Rocker as well in Steelix, which I think is really good. I think he's got a good value in a Steel type like Steelix as well. Of course, the ground as well. And he's just got really good physical breakers, man. Like Steelix is not to be slept on as a physical breaker. Lycanroc Dust, which is so good. Blaziken, he's got some good special breakers as well in terms of things like Vikavolt, Slurpuff to its extent, Inteleon, Superior, which is not allowed to run contrary in this league, so it's going to be pretty much just a normal Superior, which easy. Still has a lot of utility to it, so I don't think it's a really bad pick. Overall, I gotta give Haunch's team probably a solid 8.5. I think it's really, really good. I think he does have the good option of somewhat removal on his team. The fact that Golbat could be one's not really the best in my opinion, but things like Blaziken and Morpeko can reliably do it as well. But overall, this offense of this team is really good. Not a ton of defense on this team, which I think is one thing that's kind of holding the team back from probably being like a 9 or something like that. Maybe a few more defensive pieces could be really good, but overall, I think this team's really nice, and I think I really like it too. Up next, we have the Renegade Rotoms in Super Person with Incineroar, Mega Manectric, Heracross, Klefki, Ditto, Vanillish, Sableye, Arctovish, Minor, and Klitzer. Now, I do want to state that the megas are allowed, but they're only strictly lower tier megas. So I want to make that very much important to note right there with this team. This team's very interesting. Vanillix was one of the few Pokemon that was allowed to use Hail in this because there's some that we allowed but aren't allowed to use Hail. At least as an ability. They could manually set it up if they chose to. But this Vanillix was one of the few ones, and I definitely think picking up something like Arctovish to take advantage of it was really, really good. I think offensively, there's a Heracross, which you gotta love, and Incineroar, which can play offensive, Mega Manectric, a good special wall breaker. Then you kind of have a little trickster mons with Klefki and Sableye, the dual Prankster core right there. Minior, which I think has been a slept on Pokemon, I think in low tier can definitely really shine strong here. Klitzer, a really good special wall breaker as well in low tier. Overall, there's not. I feel like the offense is decently balanced. I think the bulk is not really quite there. So I'm gonna probably give this team. I'm gonna go with an 8 actually. I do like the fact that there's spike stacking with Klefki, which is really nice, and the option to run rocks with Meteor. But again, the prankster shenanigans with things like Klefki and Sableye, which can run. One can run Thunderwave, one can run Willow, cause major headaches. And again, Ditto, a very good slept on one in low tiers as well. So overall, I think this team's really, really good. It has an Intimidate core as well with Incineroar and Manectric, which is really nice. So overall, really good team. Up next, we have the Vibin Victinis and Coach Agronauts. We have Porygon 2, Oromatisse, Magnezone, Noivern, Galvantula, Arcanine, Pestinian, Quagsire, and Shedinja. I do believe the Porygon was Porygon limited to something. Porygon was not limited to something. Okay, just making sure. So overall, this team has both kind of looks like Webb's offense and Trick Room offense, which I think can play really well together if done correctly. It has a couple of good pieces that can take advantage of high tier offensive webs, which is Galvantula itself, Noivern, Arcanine, Passimian, and even Magnezone to a pseudo degree, not the strongest degree. And then there's Trick Room elements to the team with Porygon 2, Aromatisse, Quagsire, and Shedinja, and even Magnezone to a certain extent as well as on that one as well. And again, Room Service is an item that can actually help out the Passimian as well. Yeah, sticky webs are the only thing about this team, and getting a Pokemon that can kind of get Defiant, which kind of doesn't really do too much for you in low tiers. But hey, getting the option for that is really good. I think Aromatisse was a good fairy to pick up. It's a really good low tier Wish Pasture. It's a really good Pokemon by itself offensively as well. Overall, I'm gonna give this team a probably solid 7.5. There's a lot of fan favorites of this team, like Magnezone on there, Aromatisse, like I said before, Porygon 2, which I actually had a lot of time using it on that. Then you got some decent mons on here as well. So just overall, a really good team. And I don't think there's really anything I could say bad about it. Now, before we get into this, I need to look at that Absol real quick and make sure that Absol does not have it does not have a handicap on it. Okay, just make sure. We have the Philadelphia Phanpies in DD Quad, and hopefully I'm not saying your name wrong. With Mega Absol, Slowking, Mienshao, Rabombi, Draudigon, Venusaur, Sandslash, Flareon, Probopass, Rotom, and Volbeat. Now, Volbeat, not really a good Pokemon. It's only there for Prankster. Rotom, I think, is really cool. Probopass, very interesting as a rocker. Flareon, actually in low tier, I think can actually be very offensively good and very scary. Sandslash, decent spinner as well, also a rock setter. Venusaur is not too can be kind of crazy enough to set up Sun. It has a few other pieces of the team that can also set up Sun for wherever they wanted to. Drudicon, a good reliable rock speed, and actually a really good low tier dragon to grab, which is really good. Rabami with webs, and then Rabami's in a format where it can kind of actually play more towards an offensive role than it can do in Nash decks, which is really unfortunate. But otherwise, it's really good. Mega Absol being allowed in this league, I think, is a little bit of a mistake. But I think the DD Quad took massive opportunity to grab this Pokemon, especially how late they got it as well. Slowcade, a really good mod as well. There's a decent part of Trick Room to this team, which definitely adds a really good aspect of this team as well. Overall, I do like this team. I'm definitely going to give this team a solid 8. This team has a lot of things I really like about it. It has decent hazard removal, it has a hazard setting, good breakers, special breakers, just bulk overall. I kind of just really like this team, and it's overall a nice, not that bad of a team. I really think it's really good. Next, we have the Kona Cramorant, and my boy, the man himself, Rose. And Rose really handicapped himself for this. Here's what I'm telling you. First off, let's go over his team. He has Rotom Heat, Vaporeon, Serena, Durant, Ninetales, Alolan form, Dusknoir, Drampa, Salk, Drapion, and Swoobat. Now, Rotom Heat cannot run heavy duty boots in this format, and Alolan Ninetales, like I said before, cannot run Hail. So, therefore, he has a Pokemon that cannot run an item and one that cannot have run ability. Overall, though, Rotom Heat has been a Pokemon that can prove, even back in the days of Gen 7 when rocks would cause an issue. It's not that bad. It's not going to hurt it. It's not going to really cripple what it can do. It is a phenomenal Pokemon. He has good Wish User and Cleric support with Vaporeon. Serena, again, a good spinner and offensive piece, paired with another really good offensive piece in Durant. Even Ninetales, if it can't use Hail, it's still a really good special wall breaker in terms of that. Dusknoir, a phenomenally good Pokemon here with the ability Frisk. It's a really good defensive piece. Same thing with Drampa, can be a low tier defogger and also take advantage of its Berserk ability if built correctly. Then there's socks that can really go well with your shoes. You have Drapion. Drapion, which is a good toxic by using, just a really good Pokemon overall in low tier. And then you have Swoobat, which is a Swoobat. It's simple. Overall, Rose's team is really good. I think it's really good. Just really good removal on this team. He doesn't have any really hazard setting at all, which is kind of a hindrance, but I don't think it's gonna hurt him that much. I'm gonna give his team probably a solid 8.5. I really like his team. I think he definitely took a bit of a crippling hit there. The only reason I don't really drop him down to like 7.5 or 8 with the Ninetales was because again, low Ninetales even without Hail is still a good Pokemon. I think it's not that bad of a Pokemon without it. It can definitely do a lot more things for a team than just setting up Veil. And plus, if he plays his cards right, he can run Hail and then Aurora Veil at the same time. Or have something run Hail and then he can still run Aurora Veil with it. So it's not like it's the worst thing out there. Wrong one. Up next, we have the Southern Sand Slash in Coach Delp with Bisharp, Unicorn, Comfey, Blastoise, Mismagius, Predillion, Miltank, Froslass, Altari, and a Drill Boot. This is honestly not that bad of a team. I think it's got some good pieces in terms of supporting. Again, a couple of rockers, a few removers, which is really good as well. Reboot, which can run Libero in this formatting, which is really good. I think there's a lot of good things on this team. I think there's a lot of things that are different about this team and has really good uniqueness to it. So I think overall, team has decently good offense, has really solid bulk, and just overall synergy wise, it's decently good. And I think I have to give this team an 8.5. I don't think there's really too much I have to cripple about this team. I guess the one thing I could probably say would be the fact that to me, there's only one mon that scares on a team, and I think you should have more than one, in my opinion. Like on this team, I only see a scare in Blastoise, and the speed on this team is slow. There's no fast pivoting on this team, and there's just no fast speed on it all. If there was speed, I definitely could put this team up there, but the only thing I have to really kind of hard cripple down on is just that speed. But again, overall, this team is really good. I think there's a lot of great pieces paired together on this team. So I think it's really good. Up next, we have the Lyrian Lycan Rock, aka Lycan Rocks, with Legone. Sorry if I put your name. Which have a bit of a hail team. I'm pretty sure Abomasnow actually is not allowed to use its hail. I need to double check that. Um, Come on, bro. Come on. Yep. Oh no, light clay. See, there was item restriction on this. So you have Obama Snow, which can run hail, but it's not allowed to use light clay in its moves pool. But paired with Arctazol, really good pair in there. It has Empoleon, which is a really good defensive piece to a lot of teams, and also a really good offensive piece. You have Crobat, Grimmsnarl, Omastar, Dusclops, Bronzong, Wigglytuff, and Clado with Pignite. Really solid, decent trick room in the back, and then a good screen supporter with Grimmsnarl. Um, I believe Grimmsnarl also had a handicap put on it, so I'm pretty sure Grimmsnarl will never be on this tier. They didn't have a handicap on it. Nope, that's just a normal Grimmsnarl. Okay. Really weird. But overall, I think this team's really, really good. I think it's got a good balance between having a Hail core and a Trick Room core. Hazards are really good. Removal, definitely extremely weak. Non existent, really, besides Claydol. But overall, I think the setting is really good. Really solid Trick Room aspects and pieces of the setters as well. And just overall, really good, decent pivoting on this team as well. Not the greatest, but decent at best. And overall, I gotta give this team an 8. It's a really good team. I really think it's really solid. I think it's very unique, very different from most lower tier drafts. So, really, really good team right there. Up next, we have Steery, my man Sterling, his Winnipeg Wingles, with Celebi, Moltres, Swampert, Dragalge, Fortress, Zoroark, Cincino, Bolton, and Alcremie. I believe Moltres can run heavy duty boots. Yes, it can. Now, personally, for me, Sterling has a very good team. But his removal is not terrible. Like Moltres can run defog effectively on certain matchups that really need to be if he only needs like Roost plus 2 attacks. Really, Dragology is a really good Pokemon. Fortress, a good lower tier Pokemon again. Zoroark for those mind games, Cincino, which can be annoying. Bolton, which is really decently good in lower tiers, and Alcrane, which is kind of a slept-on fairy to use in low tier. Celebi, a fantastic Pokemon, obviously, can really shine, but now with Access Celebi, having Signal Beam back into the game for this part of the for this formatting. It's not as good, but it's not that bad of a Pokemon as well. So overall, I love this team. It's really, really strong, very, very good. I would probably give this team a nice, good 8.5. Even argued for a 9, just because it's so good. Yes, it's not as big in most of other teams, but its value in each member of its team plays a massive part in terms of what it can do. So I really like that team. Up next, we have the PitCon Piplups, coached by Humas, with Tornai, Uxie, Florges, Kabutops, Excavator, Jolteon, Textcoat, Ludicolo, Runeriga, Swacky, and Purloin. I guess you know what the idea of this team is. Obviously, Rain and all that stuff is banned. Drizzle, on Politoed, and Pelipper are banned. But Tornai can run Rain Dance, and there's where you can kind of see the pseudo Rain team core in there. So he does technically a bit of a rain team. He does have Florges and Uxie, which are very defensive and annoying, stupid Pokemon, which can definitely do a lot of work against teams. He has really good rain supporters in terms of Ludicolo, Toxicroak because of dry skin, even Tornado to its extent. The best Pokemon in the world, Jolteon, Escavalier. Just really good Pokemon. He's actually got some good lower tier mons, which can actually kind of work outside because he's going to fully breed Ludicolo and Rain. There's Swacky, and there's Portline for prankster, little trickery, and all that stuff. So overall, I'm gonna give this team probably a solid 8. I think the gimmick of having to run Rain Dance on Torn for certain matchups every single week, I do think is kind of limiting on what Torn can actually do. But overall, I think Torn can still do a lot for a team this time around, and I think overall this team is just super, super good. Really, really solid. We have the Fishtail Frost Slashes and Coach Sagacia Psycho with Crocodile, Amoonguss, Entei, Gligar, Gastrodon, Galar, Corsola, Skuntank, Colossal, and Alolan Raichu. I think Corsola should be fine. There should be no restrictions on Corsola. If so, that is news to me. Yes, it is a normal Corsola. This team very much defensive. There is very few, and by few, I'm talking about like few offensive pieces on this team. It definitely screams towards more as a lot of bulk if anything. So definitely something I kind of have to play a bit of a factor in there. Defense can win championships, but again, just too much bulk on this team. I think it's really passive team in terms of speed. Its fastest things again base 100, or no, base 110, I believe. So only two mods that can reach base 100 and above. Just not too much speed on this team, and I'm probably have to give this team probably a 7, just in terms of like I like the bulk pairing that it has, but there's just nothing that really takes advantage of the hazards, nothing that really takes advantage of the speed, and the removal is just not overall the best thing on the world. This team, so there is that. But now we have my father, aka Shadow Gallade, coach of the Carolina Toros Heels. He's not really my father, but he's from a different dimension, my father. And I told him to grab Scolipede, and he didn't listen to me. But he took Cloyster instead and listened to the other half of him. Cloyster, really good Mon, Mega Steelix, Gardevoir, Rotomo, Flygon, Ambipom, Hitmonlee, Rapidash, Ariados, Sliggoo, and Ralts. My boy Geraldo, my brother. Sliggoo, honestly, I really slept on lower tier Dragon. Run, Rest, Rain Dance, and then just two good coverage moves against people's teams. And Sliggoo can actually put in work. Arios providing webs, Rapidash relatively good fire type in lower tier, Hitmonlee really good Pokemon in a lower tier setting, Ambipom really good as well. Rotomo and Gardevoir for good special breaking, along with Cloyster, which can play special or physical in certain matchups as well. And then Mega Steelix, which is with phenomenally good defensive piece that can run Stealth Rocks every single week, is really good as well. So overall, I will give Shadow's team an 8.5. Um, I would say he didn't pick up a decent amount of bulk on his team besides just Steelix. I think some bulk would have been really necessary for the team besides Steelix and Sliggoo. But overall, I think this team's really, really good. It's really, really solid. And overall, I really like this team. Proud of you, Pops. But yeah, that's going to be it for the power rankings of these guys. Let me know in the comments section below how you feel about this. Like, comment, share, subscribe. I'm going to go ahead and go to bed. I'm tired. And hopefully, guys, you do appreciate the fact I worked hard on this and the other video as well. So thank you so much for watching. I'll see you guys next time. Peace.